It is for a reason. I'm just posting a quick video really to say something about what it's like to go away on vacation and come back to a fish room when you don't really know what to expect. I've been gone 2 weeks and I hope everybody had a great time while I was away because, well, I guess everybody should have a good time. Not to say that it's because I went away, but basically because it would be nice if everybody had a chance to enjoy their fish. But I went away for 2 weeks and I left the whole fish room in the hands of a family member. And the family member doesn't know anything about fish. Not a single thing. So what we're going to do in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the condition of the room, how I managed to survive 2 weeks with no water changes, no nothing. And we'll look at the condition of the tanks. And then I'm going to explain, after looking at it, what I would probably do different. Hi Jeff, welcome aboard on this late Friday night. So I got a couple of surprises, and that was one thing. I was really expecting to have a lot of losses. And one of the reasons why is because when you have a fish room, and there is very likely to be a lot of life losses, and you just have to eat it. You just have to, hey Les, welcome to Friday night. Quick recap on what's happened in the last 2 weeks since I'm not here. Well, we're gonna find out. So let's take a quick look at the tanks. As I don't have a lot of battery power today because my battery on my phone is almost gone, so it's going to be a quick video, and I may even run out of power. So what I did was, this is basically the first tank I came in, and I said, wow, the water really dropped low. I had no idea. And then I looked at the tank below and I said, oh my goodness, look at this, the water's super drop low. So this is something that's really of a shock. I wasn't expecting the water to drop so low. Looking around the room, it seems as though every tank has dropped its water level. I had no idea. I didn't expect any of these little fry to make it, but as you can see here, they did very well on just a small pinch of powder food daily. One small pinch. It looks like I've got quite a few still in there. So I'm kind of happy about that. I may have lost a few along the way, but it was for a beneficial cause. And here is the big tank, and I'm going to explain to you what I did to make feeding of the fish very simple. Surprise, surprise, I walk into the room and guess who's got babies? This pair just is an excellent pair. I think they laid eggs the day I left. And I think that, yeah, it was about the day I left. But this is without any water changes. Water dropped a couple gallons. And this is only a 15-gallon tank. And it got really messy. But somehow these fish survived. So I'm really impressed about that. They just take such good care of their fry. I'm really anxious to see more of the adult-like ones from this pair. This is just a gorgeous pair. This is I think this is a second generation from Wild, and that is, it appears to be very yellow. I guess maybe some would call him an albino. I don't see, there's not that much of a red eye, but it's a beautiful fish. And I look down here, and these little characters, and when I first walked in the room, I saw a bunch of babies, but now I don't see any. I don't know what happened. I do notice that my air got a little off because there's a huge flow of bubbles on that back filter, and I don't know exactly why it's so violent, but I only see a couple babies now. I saw a few of them when I first walked in. Now I don't know if it's because they're excited, they see me and they start eating their fry. If that's the case, there's a fry back there. I see him against the glass, little black dot there moving around. There's a couple. I don't know if the water is just too. I'm gonna tone that back in a few minutes. But all the tanks, as you can see, are missing water. This tank here is not missing any water. This one has a super tight lid. So I guess super tight lids is kind of the most practical thing to really keep down the humidity. Over here was they did very well. What we did was I color coded the food. Well, not color coded, but lettered the food. And each tank got a specific amount once a day, and that's it. And as you can see, even this tank, which was interesting, this tank, there were no fish in it. But apparently I made a mistake because there was a fish in it. But after 2 weeks, it looks like it did okay. I had taken out all the angelfish. Must have been one hiding in there because now when I look in there, oh, there's two of them actually. Look at that. Two of them, and they're doing quite well. Two angelfish in an empty tank. And they got no food. And this is the same ones I had pulled out of that tank. They were also some stragglers from a recent batch. And so they look the same. In fact, the ones down below in the empty tank that didn't get any food look almost bigger. So everybody kind of did pretty well. I look in each tank and I don't see. This tank, as you can see, is probably overfed, even though it was just very little, very un poquito. I asked a family member to just put a tiny bit, 1/8 of a scoop of B. So as you can see, each tank has a code on it, a half of a B, and over here there's a quarter of a B, quarter of a B, and here's 2Ks every day, cada dia. So every 2Ks, and this tank got a lot of algae for some reason. It always did, but it really looks dirty, but it survived. A lot of fish in there, no water changes. Also must be a tight lid because there was very little water lost. So here's the key. So you want to make it simple for somebody who's actually going to feed for you. You go away and what you do is you do this. I have this GR, and this one is some very fine powder and has a tiny scoop. So what I'll do here, let's see, the scoop in there is very small. And this is the B. This is the Basileir, Dr. B. So this is the B. So this is the scoop. So when you see a quarter of a scoop, like on this tank, 1/4 B, they got 1/4 of this scoop for B. That's what it means. So this little cart was carried around the room, and the person who didn't know what they were actually anything about fish would take the red or R, and they would scoop out R. Now the R I know was the red that was for discus. So they got 2 R's every day. And I still got the batch to survive. But that's discus for you because discus, the baby's obviously been feeding off the parents. And the parents don't look too bad. I was afraid that they would really be torn up by the time I got back, but they're not. So I'm happy. So I will begin water changes tonight and basically just starting to put in there. Here's 3 kelps. K is for kelp. So I have the kelp pellets. So I put 3 Ks every day. And these fish look great. They're fine. There's quite a few in there, and there's all the catfish too. So it made it very simple. You go around the room and you say, okay, this is 2 scoops of R every day. And it was just like that. And no more, no less. So what else can I show you? There was one fatality. I see there was in this tank down here, it was only one scoop of the Basileir for all these plecos and the female rams. And I see that one fish up here didn't make it. Oh, there it is floating. And that's my only casualty. After 2 weeks of being away, I'm really impressed. I think there's more casualties normally when I'm here. So, can't say much about that. I don't know why that is, but I looked at the black rams. I was thinking the black rams would be an issue. And there was only supposed to be un poquito of B. And they look great. This parrot looks fine. They look in their full form, these black rams. And I don't see any eggs. They could have had eggs and eaten them while I was gone. Who knows? But now I'll be able to start changing their water, doing the thing. Maybe they'll lay again if they did. Now over here is the other black ram, and they too look good, except here's an example of too much food. Even though it was just very small, poquito of number B, you can see all the uneaten food. So this tank was in jeopardy of decomposing all that food because it was from overfeeding, and then the fish would die. So I'm very grateful that they didn't die, and they look very strong and healthy. And this black pair, I got to clean all the glass. That's another good thing. And so the rest of them, everybody looks really great. So that's how I do it. Is I'm just basically identifying on the bottle of which food. And I had taken a lot of my, in this, for example, all of my red lizard plecos, and I distributed them all across different tanks that I had available, so that they would be kind of spread out. If there was a problem with one tank, I wouldn't lose my entire stock. In fact, I have now this tank. Here's a tank here with some little ones. There's some more red lizard plecos right there. And I don't have this marked. I'm going to have to use my memory. I forgot to mark where these rams are from. I've got a variety of little rams in here. It looks like some German blues, some electric blues. I'm not sure. I have to think about it. Again, there's some air problems with some of the filters. It's not really going strong enough there, but then over here it's blasting away. I don't know how that happened, but I'll have to look into that. So that's how it is. I don't know if I'm going to lose my. Don't know if I'm going to lose my signal or my battery. My battery power. Can't check. I don't know how to check it right now, but I was very impressed. So now, with the tank water so low, I'm sure that the TDS is very high on a lot of these tanks. It's gotten very, probably got a lot more nitrates than they need to be. So I'm going to just fill them all up tonight, and then start doing full water changes, and clean out like that one that has extra food. I checked my paramecia. And I know some people have asked me and are on getting some starts. Let me change the camera here. Yeah, looks like, let's check the paramecia. Looks like I didn't have, here's a batch. I saw a couple of batches. I looked and I didn't see anything in there. Let me see this one here. The water looks clear. I had taken the Daphne over to Malik, Aqua Malik, and he took care of the Daphne for me. Hopefully he didn't kill them all off, but I was looking for my flashlight. Okay, I only got 5% on my battery now. I'm down to really low. Let's see. Last thing here is to check this. Let me see if this flashlight will work. I just want to check to see if I'll probably start a new culture tonight. Oh gosh, this has always been kind of tricky, just to get the right angle for the camera to show up. Oh, there we go. You can see that pretty well. This is okay. This one's good. Maybe I did this one just before I left. I need some batteries in this flashlight. Let's look at that. That's the problem here, huh? I have one more flashlight over here. Let me give that a shot. If my phone dies, everybody, it was great to see you. Talk to you tonight. There we go. Yep, I see what appears to be a good. See the cloudiness. If it focuses just right. There, right there. That is paramecia. That's the concentration I like to use when I'm actually doing some feeding. So, yeah, Jeff, thanks for joining us tonight, and I agree with you 100%. It is awesome for 2 weeks being away, no water changes, nothing, and having a minimum. I did cut back on maybe on the amount of food that I would be normally feeding them, And I know that if you underfeed your fish, you're going to be much better off, especially with no water changes. So that's the key. And that's what I aim to do, is make sure that I have minimal amount of food going into the tank. And now I'll start doing the water cleanup and the glass cleanup and make sure I'm feeding the right foods, a little more variety. I usually feed the discus, for example, different foods every third night. There's something different. But in this case, I'm not going to do that because I want the individual who's feeding them to be consistent. Just do the same thing and get them through this. And they're all doing good well, so I'm pleased about that. So that wraps it up for tonight. Any questions? I think that's really appreciated that all you can join us. If you would like to, please hit the like button. If you like to see some of these ideas that I have for different fish room tips, that's what we do. And if you want to subscribe, please do. I really do appreciate it. And I wasn't able to visit on my vacation any. I went to one fish stop in Southern California in the it was in I think Fullerton, no, in Anaheim. There was one fish shop that I went to called The Reef, and I had to pick up a few supplies to bring back with me because it's kind of hard to get a few things here in Canada, as you can imagine. But I didn't have a lot of time. I was really in the rush, and I couldn't film or take any pictures. It was just kind of a quickie. And when I was in the island of Hawaii, I noticed that they didn't have any fish aquarium supply places. They had Walmart, which had a nice section. In the directory, I found one place that might have had some fish, but I didn't get a chance to go over there. And that's about it. So unfortunately, it wasn't a fishing trip, as it were. But it was a relaxation trip, and now I'm back to the grind. So looking forward to getting you some updates in the near future. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and have a great weekend. And I'm sure there'll be more. Stay tuned. As always, keep it real.